Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a very exciting video because we're going to be picking my spring TBR, but with a twist because I'm gonna get a random number picker wheel to pick my spring TBR. The way this is going to work is that I have found 25 candidates that could be the books on my spring TBR, and we're going to be picking 10 of them by spinning this wheel 10 times. Whatever number it lands on is the number of that book, if that makes sense. So for example, if we get number 2, the number 2 on my list is The Night We Met by Abby Jimenez, and I would then put that on my spring TBR. I don't really love to do monthly TBRs because I'm very much a mood reader. So to make a whole video about that, I don't want my whole reading month to be a TBR. I would only want a few ones. So it's perfect for me to do seasonal ones, because then I can do a spring TBR, have 10 books, and I still have plenty of options outside of those 10 books to read on top of those. So I'm going to start screen recording the wheel. I don't know if I should say all the 25 books that I have on here. Maybe I should. I'll insert a screenshot here of all the books that are on this list, and then I'll just quickly read them out loud to you guys. But we have Dishonestly Yours, The Night We Met, Red Rising, Off to the Races, No Matter What, Broken Dove, Caraval, Swift and Saddled, and now Back to You, Fury Bound, Love Song, Heart the Lover, Half His Age, In Your Dreams, Project Hail Mary, Our Perfect Storm, Game Changer, Release Me, Most Valuable Player, What Kind of Paradise, Blood Over Brighthaven, The Road to Tender Hearts, Broken Country, 28 Summers, and It's a Love Story. So we have a lot of great options on here. Some are new releases that will be released throughout the spring. Some of the books are on my 26 books I want to read in 2026, and some books are just books that I put on this list that is on my TBR, both in physical and some that I just have on my Kindle. Alright guys, we are ready to spin the wheel for the first time. I'm very excited. Spin! Ah. We got number 17, so just let's see what that is, and we're just gonna remove choice now so we don't need number 17 again, obviously. So number 17 is Game Changer by Rachel Reed. So Game Changer by Rachel Reed is actually the first book in the Heated Rivalry. I think the actual series is called Game Changer, but this is the first book and it's in the same series as Heated Rivalry, which if you haven't heard of Heated Rivalry, I think you live under a rock because it is one of the most famous things at the moment. I feel it is literally everywhere. But this whole series, Game Changer, is about gay hockey players. I love an MM book. There's just something about it, and then make it sport related. Like, hello? Game Changer is Scott and Kip, and they're actually the couple in, I believe, the 3rd episode of the Heated Rivalry TV adaptation that you can watch at HBO. And I've read Heated Rivalry, and I've read The Long Game, which is the 2nd book about Ilya and Shane, which is the couple in Heated Rivalry. But I haven't read Game Changer, and my colleague has read it, and she thinks it's really cute. And obviously I've seen the episode about Scott and Kip, so I know a little bit about their romance. But I've heard that it's a bit different from the book. So I want to give it a chance, and I want to read that book as well, and potentially the whole series. We'll see, because I really love Shane and Ilya in Heated Rivalry. That is now on my spring TBR. Very excited, and I know my colleague is going to be very excited because I promised her that I will read it. Let's spin the wheel again. Okay, number 8. Number 8 is Swift and Saddled, so another romance. This book is by Lila Sage and is the 2nd book in her, is it Rebel Blue Ranch or Blue Rebel Ranch? Either one of those in that series. It's a small town cowboy romance series. I read the 1st and 3rd one here in either January or February. After reading the 1st one, there were some characters that I knew was going to be in the 3rd one, and I really wanted to read that one. So I just skipped the 2nd one because it is interconnected standalones. So I didn't really feel like I had to read the 2nd one, but I do want to, and it's actually the same colleague as Game Changer has read that one as well, and she recommended it to me. Very excited to be reading that as well. I know it's about, obviously we have our cowboy, but he is trying to make this building on their ranch into like, not a guest house, but somewhere where people, like kind of like bed and breakfast, not entirely, but somewhere where people can like come and book a room. This woman comes in who is an interior designer. They fall in love while she's there helping him design this house, and I'm very excited to read that because I really enjoyed the first and the third one, Done and Dusted and Lost and Lassoed. But now we're gonna spin the wheel again. Okay, number 19 is Most Valuable Player, another romance. Guys, we need some books that are not romance on this. Most Valuable Player, I actually don't even remember where I found that book. I think I heard of Most Valuable Player from a TikTok comment section actually, about people maybe talking about heated rivalry actually, and they recommended this book because it's also an romance with sports related book. I'm just gonna read the summary, honestly. Cameron Morelli is hot. Worse, he knows it. With a godlike physique and a position as his varsity football team's star quarterback, there's nobody he can't charm. So one might imagine his mortification when he's rejected by Mason Gray, the team's snarky water boy. To make matters worse, this disgrace is followed by Cam's coach benching him until he can get his grades up. Luckily, a reliable tutor steps forward to help Cam reclaim his dignity, the boy who just humiliated him. For Mason, tutoring an airheaded jog is nothing but a distraction from a past he can't escape. What he doesn't expect is to find something worthwhile in their conversation, something softening in the ice between them. Nor does Cam expect that Mason's calm smile hides a harrowing story as they slowly nudge through each other's steel gates. The dangerous realities beyond high school threaten their deepening bond, but really, it's about football. Again, I love romances. I'm really excited to read this. Like sports romances, romances, someone who has a tragic past, literally obsessed, literally. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Off Campus, obviously just in an version, but someone who's on a sports team who needs a tutor and the other person becomes the tutor, and kind of has a tragic past a little bit because Hannah in the Off Campus obviously has her story about getting sexually assaulted. A little bit of that, and I love the deal in the Off Campus series. So very excited to read this spring, and honestly romance does kind of give spring and summer vibes. I can just imagine like getting fresh flowers and sitting there reading, or maybe when the weather gets a little bit warmer outside, sitting outside somewhere in a park. Perfect spring vibes when the flowers are blooming. I love spring. Time to spin again. Let's see if we can get something that's not a romance. Also, my foot is falling asleep. Number 11. Or is it? Okay, yes, it is number 11. I love that there's confetti every time you get a number. Number 11 is Love Song. So another romance. This book is by Elle Kennedy, and it is her new release that come out, I think it comes out in March. Actually, funny that I just talked about Off Campus because it's actually about Garrett and Hannah's son and his romance with this other girl. I don't really remember their names in the stories. What are the chances, honestly, that I just talked about Off Campus and then the next book is actually related to that universe? So very excited to see more, hopefully, of Garrett and Hannah. I love that whole universe, and I read the other spin-off that they made with some of the kids. I can't remember what it's called right now, but it's also Hannah and Garrett's just daughter instead, and they're actually twins. Very excited to see the guy's point of view. He is a musician. Actually, let me look up. Oh my god, I completely forgot. Wait, okay. I forgot. It is about Hannah and Garrett's son, Wyatt, but his love interest is Grace and Logan from the second book in the Off Campus. It's their daughter who's the love interest, so it's actually double up in the Off Campus universe. Like, both the kids are from that initial friend group. Oh my god, I completely forgot about that. So it basically just says that Blake has a brutal breakup, so she escapes her family's lake house. Wyatt shows up there as well, and he's 4 years older than her. Wyatt is a musician and he's having trouble like writing new music, so he comes to this lake house as well to kind of get inspired to write new music. Oh my god, wait, I'm scared. It just says in the bottom, it says, just as they finally give into the pull, tragedy tears them apart, leaving their hearts in pieces. What tragedy? I'm scared. Kind of terrified, not gonna lie. Okay, very excited to read this book, but also very scared by reading that. Oh my god. Let's spin the wheel again, hoping for a non-romance, just like a fantasy or something. Number 6, Broken Dove. Okay, so it actually is Oh my god, we're halfway. Okay, Broken Dove is a fantasy actually, and it's the second book after Silver Elite, which is fantasy that came out in 2025, I think, like during spring, so like about a year ago. And now the second one has come out. It's categorized as, I think, a dystopian, but I kind of feel like it's a little bit more of a romance. But in the first one, we have our main character who has these powers. You're not allowed to have powers. Like, all the people who have these powers either get executed or sent to these like camps or something, but she's hiding that she has these powers, and she ends up actually getting put in this program for people who are training to become a part of the Silver Elite, which is kind of like not soldiers necessarily, but they definitely work for the government in a way, and she's, you know, more part of the resistance, and is just very interested, and she has a little bit of love interest in the high up government, whatever his name is, his son. So yeah, very interested to see where that goes after where the first one left off. I can't remember what I rated the first one, but I think like 4 or 4.5 stars or something. I really enjoyed it, and I loved the romance in it. I'm very excited. I think I need to read maybe a little summary of what happened in the first one, but I do remember where it left off. It comes out this spring, I think maybe in May, if I'm not mistaken. But that was the first 5 books of the spring TBR, so now we have 5 more to pick. So let's obviously spin the wheel. I wish I could change the colors of this spin the wheel, because it would have been fun if it was pink, but I don't think I can do that. Maybe I could. Number 15 is Project Hail Mary. Oh my god, we definitely got something completely different now. So Project Hail Mary is actually a sci-fi, and I don't think I've ever read a sci-fi book before, but this one I just hear amazing things about. It takes place out in space, but it's supposed to be really funny is what I've heard. It has a really good rating. It has 4.5 stars on Goodreads. It says, a lone astronaut, an impossible mission, an ally he never imagined. Okay, Rylan Grace is the sole survivor on a desperate last chance mission, and if he fails, humanity and Earth itself would perish. Except that right now he doesn't know that. He can't even remember his own name, let alone the nature of his assignment or how to complete it. Very interesting. I know that there are some like scientific languages in it that I might not understand. For the most part, I only hear people rave about this book. That's why I wanted to put it on this list, because it is a book that I want to read, because I just feel like it's a book that like everyone at some point reads. It's very famous, very popular, and a movie either has come out or is coming out about it, so that would also be very interesting. But I just hear that it's really funny, like the dialogue and stuff is really funny, and I love giggling at books. I would love to expand my reading horizon into some sci-fi, so I'm hoping that I will like this book and that the Goodreads rating won't let me down. If anything, it's me who's the issue if I don't like it, but crossing my fingers. I'm sure some of these books will probably be in a video at some point of me reading my spring TBR in some kind of fun video throughout the next few months, so you should definitely subscribe to see that video whenever if you want updates about how I feel about these books. And now it's time to spin the wheel again. Is it gonna be number 1? Okay, I don't even remember what did I write as number 1? Dishonestly Yours. Yes, okay. Dishonestly Yours is written by Krista and Becca Ritchie, which is some of my favorite authors because they wrote the Addicted Calloway Sisters series, which I literally talk about, I feel like, in every book video ever because I am obsessed. They wrote a new series, and the series is called Webs We Weave. Oh god, that's really hard to say when English is not my first language. To say 3 words with a W. Webs We Weave. And it's actually about this con artist family, which is not something I've ever read about, so I think it sounds really interesting. We have our main character Phoebe, who actually decides that she doesn't want to be a con artist anymore. So her and her best friend is going to move to this town, and they're going to start over and actually like setting down roots, getting to know neighbors and other people in the town, and like actually start having a normal life. But her best friend's brother Rocky decides to join them to keep an eye on them and just like make sure that they're okay and all that. And then a romance and sparks fly between Rocky and Phoebe. So I'm very excited to read this book actually, because first of all, I've never read any other books by them except for their whole Addicted Calloway universe, which is like spans 25 books or more, and more is to come. So I'm very like intrigued to read another series by them to see if I would love that just as much, because I'm sure there's found family again here, and then brother's best friend, and then Adding in con artist, again, never, like, not something I've ever like read about in a book or even like found another book that has. So I will obviously keep you guys updated whenever I read that. We have 3 more books to pick for this TBR. So let's spin the wheel. Ooh. Number 2. Number 2 is The Night We Met by Abby Jimenez. And this is her new release, which comes out here in March. I'm very intrigued about this book, also a little bit scared because it's boyfriend's best friend. I don't know how to feel about that. I'm a little bit scared, but I'm still interested, and it's the second book after Say You'll Remember Me, which came out in 2025, and I really enjoyed that one. And just in general, I really love Abby Jimenez, so I definitely still want to read it. It basically says that, no, my camera is flashing at me. Crap, I'm not gonna be able to finish this video. Okay, let me just explain what this book is about, and then I'll come back after my camera has charged. Our main character's name is Larissa. She and Chris are great together, co-parenting a slightly unhinged rescue Yorkie, sharing their favorite books and judging bread. For the first time amid all her side hustles to scrape by, things finally feel easy. But Chris isn't the one who drove Larissa home all those months ago. But Chris is her boyfriend's best friend, and all Chris wants is for Larissa to be happy. Standing by on the sidelines is slowly killing him, but making a move would destroy someone else, and he's just not that guy. Very nervous to read a book where it's a boyfriend's best friend, especially because it doesn't seem like the boyfriend is a bad guy. Very intrigued and scared, and like to just see how that will unfold and how Abby Jimenez will weave that topic and that love story to make it good and not have any cheating, but still very intrigued and just interested to see how that is gonna go down. But I love Abby Jimenez. I don't think I've read any book by her that I disliked. We'll see if I feel that about this one as well. Before we pick the last 2 books, my camera has to charge because it's gonna die on me. I'll come back and hopefully I'll be in the same spot and the lighting will be the same, but we'll see. I am back, hopefully in the same spot. It's been about an hour since I filmed. I literally just choked on my own saliva before, and that was horrible. Oh my god. There's nothing worse than feeling like you're literally choking and you're just coughing and tears were coming out of my eyes. But I think I'm fine, and I'm ready to find out what the last 2 books are going to be on my spring TBR by spinning the wheel. I think I finished up explaining what The Night We Met by Abby Jimenez is about. Let's spin the wheel and find our second to last read. Number 10. That is Fury Bound. Yes, I would have read this either way. I would have read Fury Bound no matter what. It's the second book after Dire Bound, which is a fantasy series. It was one of my few 5-star reads last year. I absolutely loved it. It's kind of like Fourth Wing in some ways. It's just dire wolves instead of dragons. But we have our main character who lives in the poor part of town. Children are getting kidnapped in the middle of the night from their beds, and one night her younger sister gets kidnapped. So she decides to join the war to go to the front lines, which is where she believes that these monsters are kidnapping the children to. So she is going to go and try and find her sister. What she doesn't know is at the time that she signs up to go to the front lines, it's bonding season, which means that everyone who signed up to go to the front lines have to be a part of the bonding trials to see if you can bond with the dire wolves. You have to like climb this really steep mountain, and at the top of it there are all these dire wolves, which are like huge wolves, and they can bond with you, and if you do, a part of your hair will become the color of your wolf. And then you have to go to like the castle, I think it was, where there's like a training camp for 2 months for everyone who bonded to get to learn how to become a direwolf rider. And obviously our main character bonds with a wolf, and now she's stuck at this training camp, so she can't go to the front lines right away. So it's a little bit of like a mystery in a way, because you're trying to figure out like who's kidnapping these children, where are they, and why are they doing this, while also learning all these magical things about the wolves and the relationships with them and how they can like talk inside their minds, kind of like in Fourth Wing they can talk with the dragons. Really interested. Very like slow burn. It's definitely fantasy more than romance, but there is a romance subplot, but nothing has even happened so far in the first book. So I'm so excited to see that develop in the next book. I don't actually know if this is the trilogy or if there's going to be more than that, but I loved it, and the only fantasy that I gave 5-star last year, so I can't wait. And now we're on to find our very last book for this spring TBR. Maybe I'll read some of the other books anyway. I probably will some of them, but we will see as time goes on. Number 21, I think. Wait, okay, it's 22. It was right in the middle. The Road to Tender Hearts by Annie Hartnett. I actually just found this book on Goodreads, I believe, under like the Discover page. And it just seems right up my alley. I'm just gonna read a bit of the summary because it is quite long. But it says it's a darkly comic and warm-hearted novel about an old man on a cross-country mission to reunite with his high school crush, bringing together his adult daughter, 2 orphan kids, and a cat who can predict death. At 63 years old, $1 million lottery winner PJ Halliday would be the luckiest man in Pondville, Massachusetts, if it weren't for the tragedies of his life, the sudden death of his eldest daughter, and the way his marriage fell apart after that. When PJ reads an obituary of his old romantic rival, he realizes his high school sweetheart Michelle Cobb is finally single again. Oh, that's gonna be funny. I don't think I've really read a romance about an older person, but I think it's going to be a little bit more like literary fiction mixed with a bit of romance. Very interested. It has a pretty good rating on Goodreads. I think it was like 4.34. Not a book I've ever heard about. It seemed interesting. The cover is really cute and the premise seems just right up my alley, like something I would enjoy, because I've really been finding my way over to literary fiction. I've really been enjoying those kind of books, and I've even read a few about like older people who are telling their life story, and I assume maybe there'll be something like that in this book as well, but I guess we will see. Only time can tell. But I guess that concludes it. We now have our 10 books that we're going to be reading this spring. Very happy with how this turned out. We have some really good picks, both some romances, some fantasy, some new releases, and also a bit of literary fiction, if I am correct about that. So it's definitely going to be a great reading season, and I'm very excited. Let me know if there are any of these specific books you would want to see, maybe in a reading vlog, who knows. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me pick my spring TBR, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!